In this lesson, we are going to review trigonometric functions. F of x equals sine of x is a periodic function with the period of 2. Its domain is all real numbers, and the range of this function is the closed interval -1 and 1. At 0, pi, 2 pi, and so on, f of x is 0. Therefore, k pi and 0, when k is an integer, are the x-intercepts. If sine of x is 1, x is pi over 2 plus 2 pi, 4 pi, minus 2 pi, and so on. This means x is 2k pi plus pi over 2 when k is an integer. When sine of x is -1, x is 3 pi over 2 or minus pi over 2. 2k pi minus pi over 2 when k is an integer. Cosine of x is also a periodic function. Its domain is all real numbers. The range is between 1 and -1. When cosine of x is 0, x is pi over 2, 3 pi over 2, 5 pi over 2, and so on. K pi plus pi over 2 when k is an integer. Cosine of x equals 1, 0, 2 pi, 4 pi means 2k pi when k is an integer. Cosine of x equals -1 is odd multiple of pi, 3 pi, 5 pi, and so on. The ratio of sine of x over cosine of x is tangent of x. It's periodic with period of pi. The x-intercepts are similar to the x-intercepts of sine of x. The numerator equal to 0, x is k pi. And the vertical asymptotes is when cosine of x is 0. That means k pi plus pi over 2. Domain is all real numbers except the roots of the denominator, vertical asymptotes. And the range is all real numbers. Similarly, cosine of x over sine of x is cotangent of x, and 1 over cosine of x is cosecant of x, is secant of x. 1 over sine of x is cosecant of x. secant of x is reciprocal of cosine. Therefore, it's either greater than 1 or less than -1. X equals k pi plus pi over 2 is the vertical asymptote of this function. Pi over 2 at 0 it is 1, at pi over 2 it is undefined, then at 3 pi over 2 it is also undefined, vertical asymptote, at pi it is -1, and this is the graph of cosecant of x. Similarly, we talk about 1 over sine of x, which is cosecant of x. This is the graph of secant of x. And as I said, cotangent of x is cosine of x over sine of x. There are some basic formulas that we need. One of them is limit of sine of x over x as x approaches 0. This limit is 1, and this level, to show it is 1, we use a table of values. By moving x towards 0, we see f of x approaches 1. In next lesson, we see derivative of sine of x is cosine of x using first principle and this limit, and derivative of cosine of x is minus sine of x. If we use quotient rule and these two formulas, we can have derivative of tangent of x as 1 over cosine squared of x, which is secant squared of x. Thanks for watching.